Whenever this Revelations chapter 21 shows up in our lectionary, I'm reminded of the scene in the movie The Passion of the Christ. It's the fourth station. Jesus falls, he meets his mother. And it's my favorite station by far, maybe because I'm an only son, maybe because my mom's name is Mary, and maybe because I fall a lot. And I don't know if you remember the scene, and whenever I tell someone this story, they go to what was sort of the bigger piece of that scene, and it is as he falls and she comes to him, she has this whole memory sequence of him as a little kid, like running around the table, and that's all really cool. That's fine. But I remember I got to go to an early screening with the bishop. I was in Lansing Diocese, and it was a whole bunch of people, and I remember literally it's that as that whole thing happens and he is just exhausted, he looks into her eyes and he gets this energy and he speaks the line of revelation that's really his. See, mother, I make all things new. And he powers back up with that cross and he goes on his way. That I audibly gasped, they took the line from Revelation and put it in his mouth. It's perfect. And this word new in Greek, kainos, K-A-I-N-O-S, just one letter different from kairos, God's time. Kainos, new, only used one other time in the Gospel of John to refer to a new tomb. The new tomb that was hewn out, new. It's the only other time this word's used. But you don't have to be much of a scholar to realize this is not a new commandment. Right? It's not new in the sense no one's ever heard it before. It shows up in Leviticus, shows up in Deuteronomy. So the Torah has this commandment. It's not new. But I think it's important to note that new here would mean not fully understood, like a new understanding of it. Because on its first level, love one another, Jesus lays it out, right? I had the baccalaureate for St. Ursula on Thursday, and they used the other time this shows up with John's gospel and connecting that to greater love hath no man than to lay down his life for one's friends. And I always say that's great. That idea of sacrifice that way, giving up your life, that's just the first level of truth or depth of understanding, if you want. The deeper one is to give away. Not to give up, but to give away one. Greater love hath no man than to give away one's life for one's friends. And that prepositional difference is really important because it goes at the two things. You could say, well, Jesus' love is sacrificing. Absolutely. But before it's sacrifice, brothers and sisters, it's grace. And that's a word that I think is tricky for a lot of Christians. When they hear grace, they think of plié, grace. Oh, I think I pulled something. That's terrible. I should have loosened up. That wasn't in my notes. But I thought about, when I was a kid, that's all grace meant to me, grace. What does grace mean? It's that love that God gives us that we absolutely don't deserve. That's what he's doing. Yes, it's a sacrificial love, but if it's only sacrifice, it's really twisted, isn't it? It's really twisted. But it's only sacrificial because it's grace first. That's what I'm saying. These things are important. Give it away. What does that mean for us then? For ourselves? How do we live that out? Well, in the same way. I had Mass this morning with the visitation sisters, and I've had this with me all morning as I went to our Ordo to realize 6 years ago on this Sunday I was preaching, and Father Tom Landgraf, was a fellow oblate, and he lived next door to me. And on Thursday of that week, I had found him in his room. He'd had a stroke. And so I went with him with the ambulance. I stayed with him in the ER, and I journeyed with him for as long as I could. But I remember being here and preaching a little version of this exact same homily. And later that night, we had to let him go. And I think, my point was, I carrying around with me all day the Ordo page with his name on it, to remember the ways in which he modeled this in his life. The importance and the depth of that, because that's the love that builds community, a love that's built on giving it away. It doesn't matter where you go in the universe. It doesn't matter what language you speak or what God you worship or if you worship one at all. This will be true. It just is true. And I often speak of those 5 truths of life. And one of them, of course, is your life's not about you. And that throws a lot of people off because they think that means they're going to somehow be walked on or walked over or, disrespected. No. You have an unbelievably unique way to love God and serve God and to give away your life for the glory of God. But if we start by putting ourselves first, it's never going to work. It can't. It wasn't designed to do that. This is why Jesus said, unless a grain of wheat can fall to the ground and die, it just remains a grain of wheat. But if it allows itself to risk that sacrifice, then it can feed many, many people. But as I'm saying to you, it's important that the love come first, like that it's the love that drives us in this community, not just some sense of sacrifice out on an island by itself. Because that's what he's going to do for us here at this altar. Is he's going to reconnect us to his love first and then the sacrifice. His body broken for us, his blood poured out for us. And that's key. If you ever read anything by Dr. Peter Kreeft, he makes this point. It's not that some blood of Jesus was spilled to save us. If that's the case, the circumcision would have accomplished that. It's that all of it. He gave it all. He gave it all. And that's limitless love. That's grace. And you and I, it's our life's journey to get there. It's our life's journey to get there. And I return to that image of Jesus on his way to save us from ourselves, tired, beaten, broken, runs out of gas, collapses, and in that moment with his mother, finds the strength to, again, that's just out of the movie. I don't know if he actually said that, but I love to think that he did. I'm on my way, mother, to make all things new. You and I can do that too. Father Tom did, and you have, and you will. But if there's something in your life right now that has you scared, depressed, afraid, hear his words for you today. Hear his words for you today. That as we love one another, by letting go of that which is fearful and dark and scary, he's like, I got you. And to make sure, I'm going to give you my very presence. I'm the one that did it. I'm the one that conquered sin and death. And when you put my presence within you, you're going to be strengthened. And that's why he later said, greater things than I've done, you will do. That's the only way that's even possible. And so if we heard his word and we prepare ourselves to receive this Eucharist unworthily, that's the grace. We don't deserve this, but he's offering it to us again today. That we would love one another. Why? To build up the love, our love of God, our love of Jesus, and then our love of this community. And I don't just mean inside the walls of John the 23rd. All of it. All of it. May God be praised.